It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the USF Sioux Falls assistant track and field jumps coach Kamberlyn Lamer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college track and field?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of start with when I started to realize I kind of wanted to be a coach. It was probably my junior year of track. I was finishing up at Wesleyan. I was helping out with camps. I decided within that's kind of where everything started to fall into place, where I was like, ooh, I really love kind of helping kids reach their full potential. And then it kind of translated a little bit, because with what I was doing in track at the time was I was a heptathlete. And so when you're a heptathlete, you have multiple events to learn. And so I was learning all of these events, and I got like fine details down on all the, it was a lot easier for me to kind of help translate my coaching within those volunteer moments to help those kids. And I just kind of, fell in love with it. Became a passion of mine. And track was already a passion of mine, being an athlete, but then helping those kids and like teaching them all the different techniques that I got to learn really was kind of put the cherry on the top for that. I then started doing stuff during the summers with kids back at home to kind of get back to my community. And I was doing like a acceleration program. So I was helping kids learn how to strength lift and get better at lifting. And then those kids' parents started reaching out to me like, hey, would you be able to help teach my kids some hurdles? Would you be able to help my kids learn how to long jump? And I was like, absolutely. So I just did that as volunteering, and I helped out within my community to kind of give back to old stomping grounds. And then that's just kind of where I started to love it. And I had this junior Olympic volleyball coach program reach out to me, interested in coaching volleyball. I did play volleyball as a high schooler, and I was decent. So I was like, well, yeah, I kind of did learn how to do like the biomechanics stuff within some of my grad classes. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come and coach and see if, that will get me some experience with coaching as an actual head coach. And so I was like, okay, I'll try it. I fell in love with it. Just having those athletes come up and give you a hug, or, help them reach their goal was really kind of what sparked my interest. And I kind of just ended up slowly pursuing more stuff with volunteering. And then I went to USD and I helped out with some little kid camps, and I just loved it. So
of course, what was that like competing as an athlete for Dakota Wesleyan?
It was awesome. I want to say, like, right off the bat, I did have a hard time at that college, but I originally picked it for coach that was recruiting me. And not only did I just pick it for the coach, I also picked it for like the Christian aspect. But that coach, he understood me and was able to relate things to me really, really well. And he was just the right person for me when I was choosing a college. Competing for him, like, that was a different story because you start with your high school moments where you're like, oh, I'm okay. I don't know if I really want to go and compete and just go and just learn the different college experience with it. But I was honored to run track for them. I was the only athlete within their history to become a national champion. And then I also was one of the athletes that had to go through a lot of adversity there. There was a time when I was ranked number one and the NAIA was kind of trying to take that kind of away from me at the moment because my coach at the time missed the deadline to enter me in on time, because there's deadlines where you have to enter your athletes in to be able to compete at the national meet. And he missed the deadline to enter me in, and I was the number one ranked in the nation at the time. And so I had to go through all that. It was a lot on me. I did go through a depression moment. Not only that, but I had to overcome adversity. Once they did decide to let me compete, I had to go down there within 24 hours and go on a plane ride. I got sick because I get motion sickness. And then I had to go and compete literally that next day once we got there. And I was sick throughout the whole meet, but it was definitely one to remember. And then I ended up winning the national meet in the heptathlon at that time. I did previously the indoor season, the pentathlon nationally too, and All-American in triple jump. So,
what was that experience like, getting to go to the national championship for pentathlon?
It was a great experience. I mean, other than the whole downfall of what was going on prior getting there, I was just able to soak up every moment though, because it was my senior year and I took all the moments I could to remember everything. I was, friendly with every official that was there. I was friendly with all of my components and our opponents. And then I was able to just get into my mental zone and compete. So it was great.
Coming out of college, what was that transition like, getting into working for a rehab facility?
Yeah. So ideally what I wanted to do was to continue my education and go on and get my doctorates. I either wanted to get my doctorates in PT or chiropractic, but I'm now coaching, which we can talk about more. But it was a transition. It was awesome. I loved every moment of it because I really enjoy the aspect of being able to help somebody prevent injury. So I loved it. It was exactly what I was trained to do with my master's degree. And it just was the right move for me because the coaching position that I have now was not available. And then it did become available. So
what was your experience like getting to work with the Junior Olympics for the volleyball program before working on the track side?
It's a big difference, just because it is more of a close fit knit with a team. I feel like when you're an athlete for track, it's more on you, one-on-one individual. I mean, yes, at the end of the day, it does become a team event by the points and the systems that way, but it's different having that kind of culture that you have to build with a team that is working together like the volleyball team to get an end result. It was definitely different and I enjoyed it a lot. I loved all of my girls that I had on my team. But that's kind of where I really fell into place with, having that moment of realization that coaching is kind of what I am meant to be doing. It's what God, I feel like, has a plan for me to do. And so that's where I was like, I'm just going to step in and try this and do it. And I fell in love with it. My athletes, they did very well. Yes, we lost a lot of games at the beginning, but we came together and we were able to put it together as a team towards the end. We started winning a couple more meets. And then, we hit our goal, which was to just try to win more than one meet. And we did that. And a lot of my girls were able to fix a lot of their technique throughout the year. And that was the rewarding moments like that. So
what was your experience like getting into college coaching and coming to Sioux Falls, South Dakota?
Well, I actually was born and raised in South Dakota. So it wasn't a big change with that kind of stuff. But getting the job was the moment where I knew that it was the right place for me. Just coming on my interview, I felt a change in the environment. I felt the energy which was a good energy. I felt people just were very friendly and very loving and nice here. Very genuine people. And that's kind of where, I right at that moment after my interview, this is the place for me. And I really, I can get this job. And then I got that call where Doug Peterson, the head coach here, called me and said, "Hey, we want to give you the job." And that was the cherry on top. So
what was that feeling like once you got the job and you got to come back home to your hometown area?
It was nice. It kind of helped take a lot of pressure off of my chest. Just because I wanted to stay within the area. I didn't want to be in the therapy stuff anymore just because it wasn't for me. And so getting this job really just opened up my heart and made things a lot easier for me with my family. I do have a daughter, so it's nice now that I can stay around my family and still be in the area with work. So,
of course, what is that like getting to coach the jumps for the men and the women's?
It's got its challenging moments, definitely. I have my women, I have my men. In the end, they're all learning the same technique, learning to be aggressive. It's different when you're coaching women over men, just because you have a little bit more. With some of my women, things are a little bit harder for them to pick up on, but that's where me as a coach, knowing all the different ins and outs of each of these events kind of helps me put my knowledge into perspective to help give them more different approaches to these techniques that they're trying to learn. I feel like I can relate really easy with these women just because I am a woman. So I was also trying to learn all these techniques, and there are some drills that are a little bit harder for certain individuals to hit. And so trying to be able to use my knowledge to work with each of them, just being able to be flexible and adjust to help them. It's definitely something I try to do. With the men, I feel like sometimes they can pick up on some of the technique a little bit better, but flexibility might be a little bit more of an issue than what the women are able to do. So, that's the difference a lot with that. On the majority of it, they are at that level now where, they should be able to do the basics of everything. It's getting the small technique down that I feel, is a little bit more important. And that's kind of where, that's where you bring me in with my knowledge and help them out. So,
have you been able to use your experience from your time competing as a track athlete to now coaching track?
Yes. I would say everything I've learned, I'm able to help relay to give back to my athletes. Yes, I had multiple coaches. I've been when I was at Dakota Wesleyan, coaches just kept kind of falling out. I went through the 6 different coaches there. And so I was able to learn many different things from each of those coaches, which kind of feel like helps me be a better coach for my athletes, just because maybe, like I was saying earlier, some of them might be able to pick up on certain cues and be able to do certain drills, and some may not be able to do the same or pick up on the same cues and do those same drills. So I just have to be really flexible and try to work on different drills to help meet each of my athletes' needs. And, being able to go through that many coaches really helps. And then I did end up competing for USD also while I was going there for my graduate degree. I did have a red-shirted outdoor season, and it was during the pandemic where I was able to kind of get a year of training under my belt with the coaches there. And I felt like there was a level change definitely with the knowledge they knew over what the other coaches that I have been through knew. Those coaches also had a lot more experience than a lot of the coaches that I had at DW. But I was able to just get that experience with all of those different coaches to help my coaching philosophy. So,
what does a typical track meet look like for you as a coach?
I am running everywhere. It's crazy because I have some high jumpers that may be jumping at the same time as my long jumpers. And I am running my butt off back and forth to just make sure I can get video of each of them. so I can watch them and coach them. It's just, trying to keep up and get back and forth to each of those events to be there for my athletes. It's a lot of work, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Of course, as a jumps coach, what is that like, obviously seeing your athletes compete at the highest level and get to make those personal best records?
It's definitely very getting to see that smile on their face and just knowing that they were able to accomplish and reach their full potential. It's rewarding, to say the least. It also just, with the passion I have, it just melts my heart. I just get so excited for my athletes, and it makes me so happy seeing them just be able to hit that moment in life. They feel like they were hitting those goals and that they had reached their full potential.
As a jumps coach, what are some of your biggest accomplishments for Sioux Falls?
Some of my biggest accomplishments are, I would say, having all of my athletes that were competing this year conference meet. That was a big accomplishment right there in itself. Our conference, which is the Northern Sun, is extremely, extremely competitive. If you're placing within the top 3 of all of the events, you're potentially going to be placing at the national meet. And so just being able to coach those athletes at that meet, that was a big goal of mine, and I was able to coach that this year. Another one was having 2 athletes, they were able to place at the conference meet. And so that was a big accomplishment. Every single one of my athletes competing also were able to hit personal records this year in indoor season. So that gets me super excited to see what outdoor season has in store for us. And then I was able to get my first commit with Rico. That was also another big accomplishment for me.
Of course, as a coach, how has you been able to balance coaching indoor jumps versus having that open area outside to be able to coach outdoors jumps?
Absolutely. So right now we're still, our track is probably about 3 feet under snow still. So we have not been able to go outdoors yet, which is killing me. But, it's going to be different, getting that atmosphere, that weather change, having that wind at your back, learning how to run against it, run with it. So those are going to be kind of our challenges, is just learning how to adjust to the atmosphere. But, indoor season, it's a little different with seeing distances. Ideally, normally we see those distances kind of a little bit shorter with indoor, just because you don't have that wind, you don't have the proper facilities possibly for good jump. So getting to go outdoors is going to make a difference. You're going to have that more outdoor feel, the wind, and then just learning all of those different things. So that's kind of the challenges I'm looking forward to, and then also I'm excited for. So outdoor season is normally my favorite.
Of course, how have you been able to adapt, obviously, as you said, with it being so snowy lately and not having an outdoor track facility?
Yeah, so we actually have quite a bit of different facilities that we get to utilize here at USF. We have a indoor bubble with a turf, and it has an indoor sand pit as well. So just trying to really help get those athletes in that visual mindset, and then really just bringing that mindset into practice, trying to keep them on their toes and know what they have in store for them when we do get to outdoors. So we're able to utilize that sand pit and that facility, which is really awesome. We also have treadmills, so we do training mills as well. We have an aerial track here too, which is 160 meters. So it's kind of hard to do any like curve running on, but we get it done. It helps. It does what we need in the time that we need it. So
what does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to compete in track?
Yeah, so right now our recruiting process is we try to start reaching out to you when you are a junior. So this is with mailing letters. So you'll start seeing letters showing up at your school with your name on it, just stating how we're interested in you. And then within that process, we start to reach out with text messages. So we'll start texting, eventually building phone call. When we get to those phone calls, it's when we're kind of talking about, if, what kind of visit do you want to come on? Do you want to come on an official visit? Do you want to come on an unofficial visit? Do you want to come see our campus? You interested in us? Are you interested in the values that we possess as a team? And then also, what kind of culture are you looking for within a school? And so that's kind of, the process that we build up into. And then it's that campus visit, when you start to come onto those campus visits and start to meet our athletes, start to meet our coaches, start to meet our admissions and our professors, and just getting to know all of the people that you'll be potentially working with for 4 to 5 years, if that's what you choose. So,
can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build for the track program?
Yeah, so I would not say that the culture is because of me. I would say the culture has a lot to do with our athletes. The athletes are the ones that really are doing everything in the team and outside of the team. So, but I would say what I do to help build the culture is bringing in those recruits that are going to potentially be the athletes that are starting to build that culture. So I'm looking for recruits that are worthy to their academics. I'm looking for recruits that are respectful, very good communicators, trying to make sure that they're listening, or that they are not just listening, but that they are reaching out back to me and talking to me through text message. And then I also am looking for those ones that are good, full-hearted people that are very genuine when they are talking to you. And then that just kind of helps where I'm helping build our program. I would say within practices, the culture that I kind of help build within my athletes is confidence. I'm really trying to push for them to get more confident within themselves, because that just changes their whole performance. And so I do things where I will sit down and I will talk to each of my athletes, and I will install confidence within them by telling what their potential truly is. And I feel like, my practices are really fun. There's a lot of joking that goes on at practice. It just feels like a big family kind of feel. And then, we do get serious as well. We get down to business and we get what we need to get done within all of that time. So,
who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
Some of the teams that we face would be a lot of the individuals within our, I would say within our conference. So that would be, Augustana. They actually are here in Sioux Falls as well. We do see North, which they're from South Dakota as well, over in Aberdeen. We see some D1 schools quite a bit too, like USD and SDSU. I'm trying to think who else we see quite a bit. Mankato, so Minnesota State. Wayne State also, they're out of Nebraska. So yeah, we see quite a bit of different colleges, but we compete a lot with those every meet that we go to.
What is that like, obviously getting to compete with that other South Dakota team in Sioux Falls versus obviously competing in teams that are outside of your state?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like, it's definitely competitive. We try to see, who's the better Sioux Falls school, but it comes down to also, they're very respectful to us. We're very respectful back. We have good leaderships within our communities. I wouldn't say that we bash each other at all. Like, we're very respectful to each other. So it's fun because you get to know the coaches a little bit more just because you see them a lot more at meets. And so you kind of get to build that relationship with them as well. So it's fun.
What does a typical home meet look like for you as a coach versus for your players?
Yeah, so we do not have any home meets anymore. They used to host them, but we just kind of fell out of hosting home meets.
Of course, what is that feeling like, going on the road and getting to compete in all of your competitions?
I love being on the road. It is fun. You get to build your team atmosphere a little bit more deeper, especially with having good conversations on the car rides there. It's just like every meet. Once your team gets there, it's down to business. You're trying to, PR. Not only PR, you're trying to reach your goals. And then also you're trying to place as high as you can as a team. Trying to, get yourself as a team higher within your history of your school. Not only that, but you're just trying to everybody wants to win. It's kind of an exciting thing, but it's not always just about the winning. It's also about, are you fulfilling your potential? Are you reaching those goals? And are you hitting the marks that you want to be hitting? So
as a coach, what is it like getting to see those freshmen get to put on that Sioux Falls jersey for the first time?
It's awesome. It's fun because freshmen, they have that different kind of feel. They get that nerve that the upperclassmen may not get at each meet. So it's exciting to finally watch them, put together what you have been writing for them all year. It's exciting for them. And then not only that, it's kind of makes me giggle because it's like, I remember when I was an athlete and when I was so nervous, but then once you start to get confident with your approach and the way that you're carrying yourself at meets, it gets a little less nerve-wracking.
Of course, what is that feeling like, seeing those freshmen go from being freshmen to blossom all the way into their senior year?
It is definitely that rewarding feeling again, like I was saying. They just have been a part of your life for so long, for the 4 years that they've been here, and getting to see them finally get that confidence that I was talking about too. It definitely makes a game, and it's fun and it's exciting, and it's like that little love that you have for all your athletes. You can see it show.
What are some of your future plans for the Sioux Falls track and field program moving forward?
Yeah, I want to build the program by bringing in more jump. I want to build our jumps group up to 15 4-minute women. I want to see the program become very strong. Potentially, it would be awesome to see a national placer within our jumps program. And so, that's kind of my goal, is to start reaching and shooting for the stars.
Of course, what advice would you give those athletes that are in high school looking to compete on the college level?
Yes. So those athletes that are looking to compete on the college level is start your search now. Like if you are a sophomore or a junior, start searching for your colleges. There are so many colleges out there. Trying to get the feel for which college is the place for you that makes you feel more like you're at home, where you feel safe, where you feel comfortable to talk to your coaches. That's going to be the thing. And trying to fit it all in 1 year to look at all these colleges, it's going to be tough because you're going to start running out of time. So really putting yourself out there to try to get in a few visits to the top 3 colleges that you're searching. That will help your search so much more. So I would say that's the number one thing I think everyone should start doing.
What advice would you give those freshmen that are entering their first year of collegiate track and field?
For the freshmen entering, yeah. So if you fail, just know that failing, okay, you learn from it. When you fail, you're going to be able to know where the weaknesses are, and then you can build those weaknesses to become strengths. So if you fail at a meet, get back up and go again.
What advice would you give those athletes that are looking to compete in the national team after collegiately?
Yeah, continuing with that confidence. Bring that confidence with you everywhere you go, even though if those places are really far away. Do it for yourself. In the end, it's what makes you happy and not what other people think. So that's, I feel like, more bigger when you start getting into that deeper competition.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to get into coaching on the track and field side after competing collegiately like you did?
Yeah, I would say get some experience, start talking with other coaches and see if you could be a GA for them, because then you can also continue education while you're doing GA stuff. Because, there's always new things always coming out. It's almost kind of like medicine in a way. Like if you're studying for medicine, there's always new approaches and new things always coming out. So, really staying committed to the events that you are coach and learn more about them and all the different training possibilities that you can do with those, because you being able to be flexible with your athletes will make you
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program app?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media. I right now have our USF Coup Jumps, I believe is what it's called. So you could follow me on Instagram. Or you could always text me if you want to reach out to me. My number is 605-214-4000. It's a very easy number to remember. So if you need to reach out to just ask me about anything, I'm here to kind of help guide you into the right journey that you are looking for. Or you could always email me. Email is kamberlyn.lamer@usf.edu. So
thank you again, Coach Kamberlyn Lamer, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Sioux Falls program as the jumps coach. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Sport_Brain, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Kamberlyn, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.